Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel, which is all about helping people navigate their ascension or spiritual awakening or Kundalini awakening process. And today's video is going to talk about a very popular question I get. I talk a lot about Kundalini. I had a Kundalini awakening many years ago and I reference it quite often. And I get a lot of questions, a lot of like fearful questions like, is it dangerous? I heard it's dangerous. I read this article or watched this video and they say it's a very dangerous energy. It can really screw you up big time. And some people even go as far as saying it's like a demonic energy and that kind of stuff. I want to give you my perspective, and that's all I can offer. I can't tell you if it's dangerous or not dangerous, good or bad, light or dark. I can tell you my experience with it, and I'll preface it with just saying bluntly, no, it's not dangerous. In my opinion, that stems from very fearful and outdated definitions of this divine energy that is only seeking to awaken you to higher consciousness and to shed all the different things you're holding on to illuminate for yourself who you really are, so you can actually experience life from that perspective. That's what it does, essentially, fundamentally. So where did the idea originate? I'll tell you. Many years ago, when Kundalini Yoga was becoming popular, perhaps even thousands of years ago, people collectively on the planet were far more unconscious than they are now, if you can even believe that. They were. Just read some old texts, you'll see how lost they were and just how cloaked they were in their very simple-minded fear, lack of understanding of things, okay? But there were those rare cases like your Jesus Christ or your Buddha, people back then who would come into their, especially there's a lot more of them in the East that you haven't heard about, but there were these enlightened masters among the completely sleeping humanity, and they knew that a spiritual awakening process, which comes along with your Kundalini awakening, could very well be way too much for a lot of the people who they were seeing. So they were a little bit apprehensive to say, hey, come join my Kundalini class, we'll work on your hamstring flexibility, knowing it very well could thrust them into a spiritual awakening that they're not at all ready for. That's kind of where it originated from, and it's just been kind of carried on that way. But I believe we need to evolve and adapt with the times. Times are different. The energy on the planet is massively different. People are awakening their Kundalini by going to the grocery store nowadays. It's much more common. People are much more ready for it. So holding on to those teachings, which were relevant at the time, in my opinion, again, they don't hold any water anymore. They make no more sense to have that idea. It's also my own personal belief, because I believe I look at things in a spiritual way, that not a single person on this planet ever will or have ever come into a Kundalini awakening if it wasn't perfectly in sync with their life divine plan, which they pre-planned prior to this incarnation. Because even challenging experiences have value. I awakened my Kundalini prematurely, and I could look back and make a case for, wow, that was really rough, man. You had a lot of symptoms, you had a lot of really dark times and challenges, but it worked out for me in the end. I'm a higher conscious type of person now. I have a greater connection to my true self. My life is vastly different than when it awakened. I look back at myself almost like it's a past life, how different I am, all in a positive light. So to me, it was worth it to go through that. Another thing to consider is that in what I'm seeing now, and you can probably perhaps second this, is the energies are becoming so concentrated. The higher dimensional energies on the planet now are so refined and concentrated that people are kind of lapsing into the spiritual awakening process anyway. And Kundalini is a sort of like guide. It's an energetic guide, and systematically, almost like it has a mind of its own, will clear out your chakras, surface your issues and conditioning that's holding you back, and provide you with higher states of consciousness that you can actually have a better chance of guiding yourself through this awakening process. So again, it's just how you look at it. In one light, yeah, it causes complications in your body, in your emotions, mentally, physically, your relationships, your career. It will rip you out of your little life of illusion, and it'll try its very best to awaken you by any means necessary. So in that sense, yeah, I can see where people would say it's dangerous, but it just depends on how kind of life do you want to live. Do you want to be asleep? You know, the ignorance is bliss sort of philosophy, or do you want to wake up to the truth? Kundalini is perhaps the most accelerated way of awakening to that truth within yourself. And the timing has never been more ripe than it is now on the planet to awaken your Kundalini and embody higher consciousness.